the 8th straight game. But the Braves can do no wrong lately. An 8th-inning homer from Justin Upton and another shutdown relief effort produced a 1-run win. Gio and Julio Teheran. The matchup tonight, it's Game 2 from Nationals Park.
Washington Nationals baseball. Washington Nationals baseball.
Cloudy, cool, comfortable night at the ballpark. Game 2, the Braves in town to take on the Nats. Ryan Zimmerman, a bit of a lineup change today. Visiting with an old foe from Florida and Atlanta, Dan Uggla. It's a different spot for Zimmerman. One in the lineup where he's never started a game before, Bob and FP. He's hit second as a pinch hitter a couple of times. And Davey shakes up the lineup, has him hitting right behind Bryce Harper, hoping for maybe more than one early run, maybe a bunch.
Davey said he likes the higher on base percentage guys at the top of the order. He threw this lineup up against the wall and it stuck. So we'll see what happens tonight here with Ryan Zimmerman batting second.
All right, let's talk bullpens. The Nats are 8 for 86 with no runs against the Braves pen this year. Atlanta's been dominant from the late innings on.
Well, it's probably the best bullpen in baseball when you look at their ranks. I mean, first in ERA, 2.44. First in opponent's average, 2.13. Fewest home runs allowed, 16 all year. Just one home run in July, and the fewest hits allowed all season long at 243. So the Braves bullpen in August alone has been good. 2-0 with a 0.48 ERA, 20 strikeouts and 4 Ks. You better get your runs against Julio Teheran. You don't want to give these guys a lead. Carp, that's how they're 23 games over. They play short games. They get to the 7th inning with a lead, and it's done.
Yeah, and they won a ball game and saved a ball game with Craig Kimbrell not even pitching last night. Teheran 8-5. Gio 7-4, and in his career, he's 2-4 in 7 starts against the Braves. Great defense last night. Ryan Zimmerman at the hot corner. Dan Uggla, not known for great defense, fantastic play on Desmond right there. And then Ian Desmond outsmarting everybody on the diamond with one play, palming one to first base another time. Fantastic. PNC Bank for the achiever in you. And by 5-Hour Energy. Cloudy night, a little bit of sprinkle maybe about an hour and a half ago here at the park. But it's a nice evening to watch a ball game. Nice and comfortable at Nationals Park, averaging 33,619 a game. Top 6 in the National League. Train celebrating its 100th anniversary by offering irresistible financing. It's hard to stop a train, really hard. So it's cloudy, humidity is up, but it's only 73 degrees. Very pleasant night here at the ball yard, and the Nats hoping Gio can lead them to a win, a needed win over the Braves. And as we mentioned earlier, the Nats have scored first in 8 consecutive games, homestand, road trip, and now back at home. But the Braves, look at that, 69 runs on the plus side from the 7th inning on. A great bullpen. Anthony Rendon, 6 hits, 3 RBIs lately. Braves lineup, Justin Upton now has a 10-game streak. He and Freddie Freeman went 3 for 4 last night. They both had, they had 3 RBIs between them. Freeman had 2 and Upton the game-winning home run. So these guys strike out a lot, but when they make contact, they do damage. 6th in the league in hitting, 2nd to St. Louis in runs, and 1st in home runs. Gio makes his 8th career start against the Braves. Well, at times he has totally dominated them. At times they have dominated him. He's 2-4 with a 5.73 ERA against this Atlanta ball club.
Last time out, he was hit hard on Wednesday's 11-1 setback at Detroit. Gave up 10 runs in 3 1/3 innings. Obviously took the losses. Touched for 2 homers among the 11 hits. He struck out 3 and walked none. So fastball, curveball change is what the Braves will see from Gio Gonzalez here tonight. Set the defense for the Nats behind Gio. Harper, Spanworth, your outfield. Desmond Zimmerman, left side of the infield. Rendon, LaRoche, right side of the infield. And Wilson Ramos behind the dish.
So Jason Worth back in the lineup tonight, right field. He did make a pinch hitting appearance in the 7th inning last night. So good to see the regulars back out there. And when they get into the dugout, another new look as Davey Johnson continues to hunt for a productive, consistent lineup. 36-year veteran Joe West at the plate. He's the crew chief. Sam Holbrook at first. Adam Hamari, second base, and Rob Drake at third. Braves are 23 games over 500. The Nats in the wild card race, 7 back of Cincinnati, 2.5 back of Arizona. Hayward at 235, but he's on the uptick. 1 for 4 last night, hitting around 280 over the last month or so, and we're underway with a foul ball at 7:07 DC time.
Yeah, last 9 games, Hayward has led off for the Braves. 343 average, 12 for his last 35.
4 for 18 career against Gio Gonzalez, who works from the third base side of that pitching rubber. And on 93 upstairs, a foul straight back, 0-2.
And Davey Johnson sort of taking a play out of Freddie Gonzalez's playbook by scooting everybody up in the lineup, looks like Freddie Gonzalez did. But Jason Hayward in that leadoff spot, moved Justin Upton to the number 2 spot. And with Davey's lineup tonight, putting Ryan Zimmerman number 2. Trying to shake things up. It's worked for the Braves.
And something is not right with Jason Hayward. Very slow getting back in. This is the 2nd time he's bent over his back. He got up once and then bent over again, and he is in some discomfort here after 2 pitches of this at bat.
Did he hit himself in the back of the head on the swing? He's touching the back of his head. Check out the swing. And did he hit himself? Didn't see it.
Yeah, it looks okay there. And all of a sudden, some sort of discomfort in his head, neck, or maybe jaw area.
Could have been a little whiplash action maybe on the swing.
And they've taken his batting helmet and his bat away from him. Freddie Gonzalez is looking into the dugout. And Jason Hayward, it's almost as if he started feeling really sore and really dazed. And when your manager reaches over and takes your helmet away, that's not good.
Let's check out the first pitch, the foul ball. It's 2 nights in a row, by the way. He swung at the first pitch of the ball game. You got nothing?
Yeah, something happened after that second swing. He's been handed his bat and his helmet back.
Let's check out the second pitch from center field. You see how his head kind of dipped down at the contact point, kind of snapped his neck. So you can kind of see it right there as he buried his head in the strike zone.
And he stays.
Still trying to figure it out. Saying, my bad. Well, if I'm Gio Gonzalez, I throw a dizzy guy curveball.
So Jeff Porter, their head trainer, seems to be okay with him staying in. So does Freddie Gonzalez. And this one is the curveball, popped up to Ian Desmond. First out of the game, and Hayward back to the dugout. They'll bring in Justin Upton and then Freddie Freeman. Upton seems to be a streaky home run hitter, doesn't he? Had 10 almost immediately when the season started. And then production fell off for a couple of months. Now he's heating things up again. Hit number 20 here last night. 7th most in the league, and Gio has been flawless on his first 4 offerings.
The first player in Major League history to hit 5 home runs in his first 5 games with a new team.
One for 8 career with a home run against Gio and 4 walks. And that's a fastball at 93 off the plate inside, 1-1. '23rd start of the year for the lefty. Opponent's batting average of .226. Good looking fastball, but he didn't get the call on the inside edge. 2 balls, 1 strike. So the count goes to 2-2. By the way, Gio owns the night. 2.23 earned run average in night games. That's the 6th best of any pitcher in the National League. Nats start the night 3.73, 7th as a team in ERA. And a 2-2 pitch to Justin Upton upstairs. '144th career start. And a tough left-hander waiting for Gio and Freddie Freeman. One of the best RBI guys in the league right now, and the hottest hitter in baseball with runners in scoring position. Out to Ian Desmond on a hop. Took Upton a while to get out of the box on that one. And a couple of outs via the shortstop to start the game.
Nice job on the 3-2 pitch. Challenged him with a 2-seam fastball. Got the ground ball to short. Might have broke his bat.
How about this? At 7:13 p.m. the sun breaks through for the first time all day, lighting up the stands on the right field side. Freddie Freeman steps in, goes up hacking. Gio's fastball consistently with movement at 93 here to start the game. Sky's brightening to the west. Always a great sign. Beautiful breaking ball drops in 0-2. Freeman 3 for 14 career against the Nats lefty, and he's on a 9-game hitting streak. Waits for the curveball and hits it not too far out to center. Denard Span has it, and a good 2-contact first inning for Gio Gonzalez. Harper, Zimmerman, Worth, and then we'll see. They're 12th in the league with a batting average of .242. Trying to get some offense going against Julio Teheran. So Ryan Zimmerman to the number 2 spot today. And of course, that's not the only spot affected. Worth up to 3. LaRoche, Desmond, Ramos 4, 5, 6. And then Span and Rendon. Lineup brought to you by Mazda. We believe if it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. Julio Teheran, 3 career starts against the Nats. 0-1 with a 4.5 ERA. And career, he is 9-6. This will be his 26th big league start.
Yeah, last time out on August 1st against Colorado, got the 11-2 win. Pitched 5 innings, gave up 1 run on 5 hits, struck out 11 Rockies and walked 2 through 103 pitches. So fastball 90 to 95 miles an hour. He'll sink it, he'll cut it. Curveball change to go with it. Set the defense for the Braves with the changes. All of a sudden you got Evan Gattis in left field, and Justin Upton moves over to right. BJ in center. Simmons Johnson your left side. Ugla Freeman your right side. And Brian McCann behind the dish.
Yeah, and as the way the Braves have their roster configured right now, that's their backup catcher into the ball game in the first inning.
So Upton, and Upton, your Braves outfield.
Bryce Harper will lead off. Please tell me there's not another one. Bryce 0 for his last 11, hitting .267. And Bryce has done some early damage against this pitcher in this ballpark this year. He's hit 16 home runs. 2 for 5 career with a walk against Julio Teheran. Clean shaven since batting practice today, Bryce Harper. Off the plate, 1-1.
And changing up, little pine tar on the shoulder right there from where he sets his bat. Looks like he left a little more in the stash and just trimmed up the beard.
Denard Span led off with a base hit on Friday, April 12th after Worth struck out batting second. Bryce Harper goes opposite field for his then 5th home run of the year. The Nats would score 4 runs in the first 2 innings. The Braves would score 4 in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, and then win it in extras. But Bryce had a really good swing to start that ball game. Later walked and stole a base. Target away.
Almost the same pitch we just showed you on the highlight. Bryce Harper is having some serious issues with the pine tar right now. He's got more on his uni than he does on his bat.
And a 1-2 again. Breaking ball strikes him out. Teheran, 118 strikeouts, 28 walks this year.
And it goes with the curveball right here, 82 miles an hour, pulls the string. More of a change in speeds than anything else. Not a lot of break to it, and Bryce Harper out front.
Ryan Zimmerman hitting .326 over his last 12 games. Number 2 hitter.
I talked to him today about batting second for the first time in his career. He said, I might actually have to look down at signs today and pick up Trent Jewett. Should he put on a hit and run or other things you do hitting second?
Slow curveball.
Yeah, very rarely with your number 3 hitter, Carp, do you put on a hit and run or bunt him over.
Yeah, you want that guy hitting it to a gap, don't you?
Yeah.
Zimmerman got that one off the end of the bat. Not much carry to it. Right field, Justin Upton. 2 outs. That'll bring in Jason Worth. His consistency this year has been outstanding, coming, of course, off the July Player of the Month award. This year against right-handed pitching, Jason's hit .311. Against lefties, he's over .330.
See a little cut on the fastball right there from Tehran. Just sink it in, cut it away. Those fastballs sit from 90 to 95.
It's a front door breaking ball that catches the inside edge. Counts even 1-1. Saw one upstairs, took a big time rip. Your mission, our commitment. Visit agilitycorp.com. So since the All-Star break, just under 400 home runs, on base percentage way up there in the slugging. And as soon as Jason, as we talked about a couple days ago, gets enough at bats to qualify, he's going to jump all over that National League stat sheet.
Well, July Player of the Month. I mean, that's all you really need to say. Obviously August now, but had a whale of a July and trying to keep it going. And Davey Johnson showing what he thinks about Jason Worth. You put your best hitter in the 3-hole, that's where you want him, and that's where Jason is tonight.
On 1-2, the fastball's outside. Tehran is just 22 years of age. From Cartagena, Colombia, signed with the Braves at 16 back in 07. 6'2", 175. And then that slide piece way outside. Count goes full. For the left-hander on deck, who swung the bat really well last night, Adam LaRoche. Batting fifth. Centered the ball 3 times in his 4 at-bats, went 2 for 4, double, single, RBI. Worth with a good eye on a close pitch. He's aboard with 2 outs. Just adding to that .385 on base percentage.
Well, I think Jason Worth knows the strike zone sometimes better than home plate umpires. A guy that's not afraid to go deep into the count and get on base any way he can. And you're going to see a lot more walks to Jason Worth the way he's been swinging the bat lately. Pitcher's trying to be careful.
So guys hitting in front of him should see good pitches, and those behind him with men on base. Braves shift their defense to the right a bit, but not a lot. They haven't gone as dramatic a shift against LaRoche as other ball clubs have recently.
I mean, it's rough if you're favoring the Nationals right now. You have to get 2 Jason Worth bats out in a row. Using it again today. Adam LaRoche with Jason Worth's bat.
It's a good fastball up in the zone near the outer half, and the count's 1-1. Big gap in left center.
When you ask Braves people about Julio Tehran, they'll tell you his whole season kind of turned around. His 4th start of the year in April at Colorado. It's the 2nd game of a doubleheader there. And if you remember the temperatures that day, 22 degrees. He took the mound, went 7 innings, gave up just 8 hits and 1 run. And they figured if he could pitch in those kind of conditions, that he was finally getting it. Because if you ask anybody, nobody likes to play in those conditions. You know, he likes to pitch in those conditions, and that's where the light finally went on for Tehran.
3-1, a short lead for Jason Worth. They throw over anyway. The running game may be shut down at least a bit for the next couple of days with that groin that kept him out of the starting lineup last night.
Tehran's picked off 9 runners this year. He's one of the best right-handed moves in baseball. Quick feet, quick arm.
And LaRoche, a quick bat, fouled it back. Plenty of authority in that swing. And the count's full, and this will help Jason Worth get a head start with 2 outs. Tony Tarasco will back up. Freddie Freeman will back up. Creeping and running, and it's ball 4 to LaRoche. Couple of long at-bats by the Nats here after 2 outs. We've been talking a lot about bats and who's using them these days. Julie has more.
Well, Adam LaRoche was telling me the only other time he's ever used another teammate's bat, that would be Roger Bernardina. He said, but he's been struggling so much. He said, at this point, I'm ready to take all my bats, take the number off, take the name off, and start putting my buddies' names and numbers on there.
He also told Rick Shue when a reliever comes in, don't tell me how good they are, tell me how bad they are.
Confidence by suggestion. I like it. Shue with Tracy. Ian Desmond, 4 for 9 career against Tehran.
I'll tell you what, Ian Desmond had one of the best batting practices I've seen a national hitter have all year today. Ball's flying in Nats Park. And he hit line drive home run after line drive home run.
Whoa, that's a changeup that got away.
Yeah, 80 miles an hour, changeup. Look out.
Runners on the move, and Desmond a ground ball to short. Backhanded by Simmons, and the Nats are gone. Pair of 2-out walks, 2 stranded early. Long inning for Tehran, and Gio back to work. They're still coming in. Second inning presented by Luna. Call for the Luna double. Get your second room of flooring free at 877-241-LUNA. The Major League Baseball Players Alumni Association Heart and Hustle Award, created in 2005, voted on by alumni and active Major League players, and presented every year to an active player who demonstrates a passion for the game and best embodies the values, spirit, and traditions of the game. And who gets that more than Ian Desmond?
How cute is his son?
One of the most athletic shortstops you will see. Second inning underway. Brian McCann takes ball one outside. This is the odd matchup stat of the night. Brian McCann has never faced Gio Gonzalez. A lot of times when the Nats would play the Braves, David Ross, their backup catcher, would be in there against Gio. A couple of times McCann was beat up on the DL. This is a major league pop-up. Anthony Rendon, final adjustment for the out. 4 in a row to start the game, and 3 of them in the air for Gio.
Serious hang time on that Brian McCann pop-up. But you would think Gio Gonzalez, after his last outing, where he gave up the 10 runs on 11 hits, would have a lot in the tank today after the 77-pitch effort.
I had 8 seconds of hang time there, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing Rendon should have done differently is waved fair catch.
I went totally manual on that count, nothing electronic about it. And here's Chris Johnson, the league's leading hitter at 342. He's done it by eating up left-handers this year. He's hitting .391 against lefties.
Did you go 1001 or did you go one alligator?
No, I didn't say anything. It was a feeling. I was feeling it.
So you just made up 8 seconds then?
No, I was counting it, but it was a feeling. See, I'm not
sure. You can't count it and have a feeling. It's either one or the other.
No, you can feel it. It comes from many years of watching Major League pop-ups and trying not to be fooled by them as a play-by-play announcer.
Well, I had it at 6.8. I don't know what the truck had it as.
They had 12.2. Great breaking ball to strike out a tough right-handed batter. And Gio, strikeout number 1 on the Kinetic North America pitch track.
Well, you'd think with the events of the last couple of days, and Gio Gonzalez maybe a lot more relaxed out there. And he looks it, right? Free and easy here early. Good stuff working. Tough guy to strike out.
Dan Uggla. 0 for his last 13. 14. Worth. And Gio getting quick outs here, too. 6 in a row to start the game. Number 6 hitter straight ahead for the Nats, Wilson Ramos. In 2 innings, 14 for strikes. AFCEA, the Association for Global Security Professionals. Julie checks in with our sideline report.
Hey guys, well, with Davey Johnson always tweaking the lineup, seems like another day, a different way of the lineup. He had Wilson Ramos batting cleanup yesterday, and today Wilson told me, I really missed that spot. That's where he played in Venezuela, and he said, ideally, I would like to get to a place where I'm batting between 4th and 6th. He said the middle of the lineup is where he feels really good. And Davey Johnson, always in look for that offense. It may be something that sticks. But Wilson said, it's tough with this team. There's so many good guys, but it really made me happy batting cleanup yesterday. So I don't know, guys. He's on a streak. This could be a good thing.
Well, it's only a matter of time before he's a middle-of-the-order guy. We all know that. Wilson just about to turn 26 4 days from now. And on the verge of a great career. Got a fastball, a little late for it, fouled it back. But, I mean, he does not get cheated. Hardly ever gives an at-bat away. With a check swing or something like that. He's on the attack. Fun to watch.
Watching Tehran, he reminds me of an old teammate, Felix Rodriguez, the relief pitcher from the San Francisco Giants. Same delivery, same kind of arm angle when he lets it go, and the same finish. Rodriguez a reliever, though. Very similar styles.
Kind of pulls the ball out of the glove as he goes back.
He just takes it out. Gets it to release point quick, and that 92 plays a little bit faster because of how quick his arm is.
And Ramos IDing the breaking ball, and the count's even 2-2. Denard Span in that number 7 spot. He may be Tehran's toughest matchup tonight, and we'll tell you why in a moment. Breaking ball had Ramos reaching. On the run, the trot, B.J. Upton for the out. Denard Span, in his career against Julio Tehran, I'd call 9 at-bats a decent sample size. 6 hits in those 9 ABs.
Well, it's a decent sample size if you're 6 for 9. If you're 0 for 9, you're saying, well, that's not enough.
Haven't seen him enough.
Yeah, hasn't seen him enough.
You guys have an answer for everything.
Yep.
It's all right. I'd feel the same way. We'd be saying he's due. Looked like he took a shot at a pull swing on that first one.
Well, that's the difference when he hits 7th versus leading off. You very rarely see Denard Span swing at the first pitch. Far more aggressive when he's down the order. He was averaging like 3.5 pitches per at-bat when he was hitting 7th last time. As everybody knows that has seen Denard play this year, when he's leading off, it's usually a 3-2 count.
Just so unusual how he has struggled on the road so mightily while hitting .313 here. Something about those first 3 outs out in the outfield kind of getting him into the game and relaxing him before that first AB.
Well, it's kind of the story of the team. They're hitting .263 at Nats Park, .220 on the road, a 43-point difference. And that is the biggest difference in all of baseball.
Yeah, cut that in half and you got your .242 team average. Tehran 83, slowing things down, getting a swing and a miss. Span will pull it sharply. Freddie Freeman keeping it close, and to Tehran for the second out. Thursday, August 15th, Giants are here for a 4:05 game a week from Thursday. First 15,000 fans, 21 and over, receive a Nationals ball cap presented by Miller Lite, only at the center field gates. While supplies last, some restrictions apply. Go to nationals.com/tickets.
Well, Anthony Rendon's made some adjustments. We talked about his little hitting streak he's got going, but 2 for 3 last night. He's opened his stance more, trying to kind of look right at the pitcher with both eyes. Nice night last night, some quick swings, but we talked about making the adjustments to the league pounding you on the inner half. Well, Rendon has actually opened up his stance.
Driving in some runs last 3 times out.
It's a 5-game hitting streak, 6 for 16. Tater in there, 375.
Facing Tehran for the first time, counts 1-2. Trying to get Gio to the plate here in the second. And Tehran just missing with a fastball. He was ready to take a step or two toward the dugout. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
All right, see the fastball, the outer half, close pitch, and then Joe West looking out there saying, we covered this last night with Steven Strasburg.
That's some pretty good jammage right there, and Ugla grabs the little flare. So the Nats looking for their first base hit through 2. So are the Braves. B.J. Upton, Andrelton Simmons, Julio Tehran for the Braves. When the Nats win and win big, everybody does. 7 or more with a W, you get 50% off. Regular menu price online orders, Papa John's with promo code NATS50. Valid at participating D.C., Maryland, and Northern Virginia locations. Better ingredients, better pizza. Papa John's, official pizza of your Washington Nationals.
Could be a new online diet.
Yeah, we'd like to see that change, would we? Season series. Braves have won all 4 here. 8 out of 11 against the Nats. Almost doubling up on runs. Tripling up on homers. Neither team hitting a lot. And the Braves pitching staff very stingy. Their staff ERA 3.27. Second to the Pirates 3.07 in the National League. Here's Upton. BJ, who's 3 for 16 career against Gio Gonzalez. Nice job of pulling the string there on a 1-0 count. Very economical. 20 pitches, 14 strikes for Gio.
Gee, with a totally different look. Clean shaven, letting the hair grow out. He's not getting his hair cut before every start like he used to. Looking for win number 8 tonight.
That's a beautiful curveball. And all B.J. Upton can do is walk away with his 101st strikeout.
This is the most relaxed I've seen Gio Gonzalez all year. I'm talking about the body language, the demeanor, even the delivery. It's just so slow, so compact, and so at ease. I mean, this delivery he has so far in this game is not even close to max effort, almost like he's playing catch with Wilson Ramos.
Andrelton Simmons, one of Gio's toughest opponents, 5 out of 12 with 2 home runs. Well, he's got a good hook going right now.
How funny is Simmons, when he was drafted by the Braves, they wanted him to be a pitcher. He was a guy that threw 98 miles an hour, and he wanted to play shortstop. And if you remember that relay throw that he made last night from short right center field, you kind of got an idea what kind of arm he has. They were forcing him to be a pitcher. He said, I want to play shortstop, I want to hit. And I think it worked out for everybody.
And a hard-breaking ball in the dirt. He runs away, but Ramos will run out and get a throwing lane. And Gio has now fanned 3 of the last 4 Braves.
Just a nice, loose, free and easy curveball from Gio Gonzalez here tonight. Just got a good feel for it. Throw a couple for his strikes, 1 for a ball, and get the swing through strike 3.
And Gio and I happened to run into each other in the hotel in Milwaukee Wednesday night after his very difficult outing. And there's a base hit by the opposing pitcher. And Tehran, who has 11 hits now this year, goes into second base with 2 outs. But FP, just several hours and a plane flight after he really got knocked around by the Tigers. And by the way, if one scoring call had gone the other way, a lot of those runs would not have been earned like they turned out to be. He had turned the page already. It's amazing to me how these guys can do that. And Gio said, look, today's one of those days. I'm going to go out and get him next time. He knew he'd be facing the Braves. And, a couple of hours later, already looking ahead.
Yeah, short memory. And I think they actually appealed that call to Major League Baseball. I don't know if they've heard back yet. It was the chopper to Lombardozzi that got by him. They ruled it a hit. We thought it was an error.
Yeah. And I think that meant a difference of 5 earned runs.
A lot of talk about Ryan Zimmerman batting second tonight. How about Evan Gattis leading off?
Yeah.
There's your Braves leadoff hitter, Evan Gattis.
And as I mentioned earlier, right now he's their backup catcher.
I got a little Ricky Henderson going right now. Check it out.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. He's a big guy at 6'4", 230 who doesn't present the biggest strike zone there is.
That is not your prototypical leadoff hitter.
23rd round draft pick 3 years ago when he was 23 years old. Breaking ball, and he hits it hard to left. Bryce Harper is there to make a tough catch. Got over there, and that ball was really diving on Bryce. 2-out double, no harm done on a very good play. A moment in history on this date, brought to you by Volkswagen. Best thing ever event. Visit VWDealer.com, going on right now. How about Tony Gwynn? 1993, raising his average at 348, hit number 2,000. It only took 6 more years for number 3,000 on this date in 99. And it was in Montreal.
The best pure hitter I ever played against, period. A guy that you felt like could throw the ball off his bat wherever he wanted to. Almost stop the game and say, you know what, I'm going to see where the left fielder's playing and hit it right there.
Yeah, and who said he didn't have power? This was a grand slam.
Yeah, inside the park grand slam. Look at that. Greg Vaughn scores. Ricky Henderson scores.
Thank goodness the fan out there fanned on it, or it would have been a double.
And then Tony Gwynn.
By the way, when he got his 3,000th hit, first base umpire that night was Kerwin Danley, who played with Tony at San Diego State. His mom, Vendella Gwynn, was there celebrating her 64th birthday. And he did that the night after Mark McGwire hit his 500 homer, and the day before Wade Boggs got his 3,000th hit.
In front of 17 fans in Montreal.
Official attendance was announced, 13,540.
I thought it was 17.
But 103,000 now claim they were there. There's Gio. 5 for 35 on the year. Tony Gwynn.
It's a good hack.
And a fastball up and away, 91 unreachable. Tehran struck out. Harper to lead off the game. That's his first strikeout since. First time around, the Nats go 0 for 7 with a pair of walks. Harper and Zimmerman now the next two.
Pretty good catch by Bryce Harper in the third inning for the Braves. Evan Gaddis, a late substitution, hits it right on the screws, and it might have a little knuckle to it, but died at the end. Bryce Harper makes a nice adjustment right there to come in and take the ball right off the grass.
Most of Ryan Zimmerman's career at bats, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th in the lineup, and he'll be second right after Harper here. And that ball's well hit to center. Upton going back. See you later. Up on to the batter's eye. Harper 17th. The Nats lead 1-0.
Well, there goes the no-hitter in a big way. So second time around, Bryce Harper makes the adjustment against Julio Tehran, gets a fastball right down the middle, and that was a low-line drive scud out of this place. 17th homer of the year for Harper on the AstroTurf in center field. And here comes a fan to try to get the souvenir, and that, my friend, is a good effort. That's what I'm talking about.
I hope he got the ball. Ryan Zimmerman flied to right. So Harper's 17th. Second career homer off Tehran. Hasn't pulled one yet. Left field, and tonight straight away. That got out in a hurry. Ryan Zimmerman in his career batting 3rd, 285. Cleanup, 281. 5th, 285. And 6th, 326.
And he hasn't got a hit yet ever, hitting second.
Having a nightmare at 0 for 2 officially. With a walk, though. That might get through. Ugla gets over to grab it with a headlong dive. And Freddie Freeman makes a nice stretch on the throw.
Let's go back to the home run one more time. Bryce Harper with pine tar all over his uni. Probably light the load on his bat a little bit. Look at some serious backspin right here. First pitch ambush. And just a low liner out of this park into the AstroTurf and Center.
Shadow of the fan coming toward the baseball there. Here's Worth, walked his first time. Slider low, 1 ball, 1 strike. They just announced the Jason Hayward situation, a muscle strain in his neck after that second swing took him out of the game in the first inning.
I mean, that's big. Anytime you get Jason Hayward out of the lineup, I mean, you could make the argument that Hayward won the game last night with his defense in left field, playing 2 or 3 balls off the wall flawlessly. None better than the relay throw in the first inning to get Wilson Ramos.
And he made that diving catch in New York a couple of weeks ago in the last out of a ball game for the Braves. He's been playing some outfield. That was with B.J. Upton on the DL. He hasn't made an error all year, Hayward. 1-2 pitch. And some high heat. Worth strikes out. But Bryce Harper has hit one out. Straight away, knew he got it. It's about 410 to where it went over the fence, and it was way above that. Systems, the leader in reducing wasteful spend through disruptive technology. Nats and their fans and all of us here honoring our wounded warriors, our returning heroes who defend our freedom every day of their lives, and we honor them here at the ballpark. So it's on to the top of the 4th inning. Bryce Harper has put the Nats on top.
Mustache is working.
For the Nationals, their 106th home run of the year. They're in the top 6 in the National League in that department. Justin Upton is the hitter. He bounced out to short first time up. And Gio goes back to work. By the way, we have a lot of smiles in the booth. DentaQuest is visiting us. One of our great sponsors here on Masson. And it's not even Friday yet. They say smile, it's Friday. Feeling good about a 1-0 lead here on Tuesday night. That's ball 2 from Gio to Upton. Freeman and McCann to follow in the top of the 4th. He got jammed on that one. Here comes Bryce Harper. Saturdays and Sundays, and this week it'll be against the Phillies. Harris Teeter Family Fun Pack Days at the ballpark. Now this is available online only at nationals.com/family. You get a ticket, a hot dog, chips, and a drink with the all-inclusive fun pack from Harris Teeter, starting at just $19. Gio back to work in a hurry against Freddie Freeman, who flied to center first time up. And that's going to hit him. That was a breaking ball right in the middle of Freddie Freeman's back. Braves have their second base runner.
It just didn't finish the pitch. He's been so good with the curveball all night long. A little smile over there to Freddie Freeman at first base. Well, this is just one he didn't finish. Kind of let go of it a little bit early. Lost his release point and didn't get a whole lot of break to it. Hit him in the back of the leg. Started John Smoltz before the game today, and I said, you know, when you were in Atlanta, you didn't have a lot of great offensive teams and a lot of runs to work with. I said, just kind of give me the mindset of maybe what national starters are going through right now, because there was many times in your career where you guys didn't score a lot of runs, but you won games. And he said that it was one of those things where you had to redline out there, you had to hit your spots, you knew you couldn't make mistakes, but the worst thing in the world that would happen is if you did make a mistake, you had to stand in your locker and talk to the media about one pitch that you made bad that night, where if your offense is going good, you never have to do that. You know, your offense scoring 4 or 5 runs, you make a pitch, give up a home run. You don't need to address that. But when your offense isn't going good and you make one mistake, that's all you talk about in your locker after a game. And he said it would get old, but he also said with their staff they had, it really didn't matter. They felt like if they got 1 run, that was enough.
Nats have scored first for the 9th consecutive game. Gio with a breaking ball, lone away, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
He also said the staff was so dominant at one time with he and Glavine and Maddox that he felt like they could have won a National League East championship with a AAA roster. Meaning with Bobby Cox managing, they manufactured runs, they played good defense, and they didn't really need a whole lot offensively.
I'm sure that made the kids in Richmond feel pretty good.
I'm sure Chipper Jones is glad to hear that right now. There's John Smoltz
on the MLB Network tonight. 2 balls and 2 strikes, and that ball is off out of play to the left side.
He was the one guy in that staff that would give you something to hit every at-bat, to where his split as his out pitch was dirty as anybody, but he'd give you a fastball to hit somewhere in the sequence. Yeah, it'd be 96, 97 miles an hour, but he would throw something over the plate. The other guys, Maddox, Glavine, they never threw anything over the plate.
Brian McCann with a great stroke to left field. Freddie Freeman stops at second. Braves have 2 on, 1 out here in the 4th with Chris Johnson coming on. Interesting about that big 3. Only one of them was a homegrown Brave, Tom Glavine. Smoltz, of course, in the infamous deal with the Tigers for Doyle Alexander. And Greg Maddux, after great years with the Cubs, signed with the Braves as a free agent. Got out of Chicago. Prospered in Atlanta. How many times would you have 3 pitchers from the same staff in the Hall of Fame?
Wow.
Unbelievable. It'll happen. Ground ball right side. If they hurry, there's 2. And they do. It's a 4-6-3. Well started by Rendon. Well turned by Ian Desmond. The Nats, their second double play of the series, and their 94th of the year to hold on to that 1-0 lead.
August 10th from 11 a.m. to noon at the Cox Fairfax Solution Store, Lee Highway, Fairfax, Virginia. It's free to attend. Just RSVP at coxisbaseball.com. Well, 1-0 Nats will go to the bottom of the floor. It's been the Bryce Harper show. First and left field, robbing Evan Gattis of a base hit, maybe extra bases, and keeping Julio Teheran from scoring, who doubled. And then the home run to center field. Straight away, got a backspin created on the 17th home run of the year for Bryce Harper. Pine tar all over his uni, mustache, good look, it's working. Bryce Pine Tarper.
Home run number 17, RBI number 38. Middle of the order for the Nats in the bottom of the fourth. Adam LaRoche, Ian Desmond, and Wilson Ramos. Teheran, 49 pitches in 3 innings, 31 strikes. By the way, Gio's averaging 11 pitches per frame through the first part of this game.
Well, he's got his run.
That's a strike on the outside corner. Adam LaRoche walked first time up with 2 outs in the first, his 43rd walk of the year, and his 4th time he's walked against Teheran. He's 2 for 6, but on base 6 times.
Well, you see that glove kind of fan right there when we showed that shot of Teheran's glove? Kind of got a little bit wide. When guys reach in for their changeups at times, it'll do that. That was 89, so in between a fastball and a changeup, maybe a BP fastball for a strike. He threw it for a ball down and in.
That was 93, down low, and LaRoche fouled it.
I mean, hitters will just eyeball a pitcher's glove looking for any kind of movement, any kind of advantage to see if they're tipping their pitches. And inevitably, when they reach in for their off speed, the glove can get wider.
Off speed, and LaRoche hits it up the middle for a base hit. Adam LaRoche has now been on base 4 times in this series. Double, single last night, walk, base hit tonight.
Well, good part about that is Adam LaRoche got a single. Bad part about it is he broke his Jason Worth model. So Bat Dye's a hero for LaRoche. You see it right off the end. Little fracture down by the handle, but a leadoff man on here in the 4th and splits the shift. The only guy that could have made a play on that was Adam Hamari, the second base umpire.
And he peeled off.
Yeah.
So here's Ian Desmond. Pulled the ball to short first time up. Nats have had some extended at-bats in the first half of this game tonight to build up that Teheran pitch count.
Yeah, the walk by Jason Worth, the walk by Adam LaRoche, first go around.
Ian saw a pitch up, he was pumping, and the count's 1-2. Even despite an out tonight, still 4 for 10 career against this right-hander. And a 1-2, that's a busted bat. Freeman, backhand, waiting for the relay, and Desmond too quick. Freddie Freeman doing the splits on the return throw there, and it'll be a 3-6 fielder's choice for the first out.
And not the worst thing in the world for the Nationals. Good exchange of runners. So you trade the speed of Adam LaRoche for the speed of Ian Desmond, a guy with 15 stolen bases. Pretty close here on the back end. Ian Desmond hustling down there. Let's see if with the Replay. Well, not really that close. But Freddie Freeman, I mean, nobody goes into the splits as much as he does. That is painful to watch, partner. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that again.
Especially not an Exmo. There's some things you just don't want to see in Exmo. That's one of them.
I'm sure there were an anxious moment or two in the Atlanta dugout watching that one, too. There's Wilson Ramos, who flied to center first time up. Fastball up and in, 94. Couldn't get to it, 0-2. Now, first time up, Tehran got ahead of Wilson, had him reaching with a breaking ball. He flied out to center.
Well, that's a quick move. I'll tell you what, you can see why Tehran's picked off 9 guys this year. Just super lightning quick feet, short arm stroke with something on it. Tough to get a jump off a guy with a move like that.
Desmond running. Ramos to center. This one will back up B.J. Upton to the edge of the track. Desmond has to touch second base on his way back. So one pitch after the throw over, Ian on the move, and Ramos hit it well. Check in on our minor league report with PNC Bank for the Achiever in you. And FP, we've talked about this. So many ball clubs, either 4 of them already clinching playoff spots or in first place, and some good offensive players leading the way.
Zach Walters, 24 home runs in AAA. Brandon Miller, 76 RBI. Billy Burns, 51 bags. Tony Renda, 80 runs. And Rafael Bautista, 353 average. Call them all up.
Promote them at least.
They're ready right now.
Billy Burns just did get promoted from Potomac to Harrisburg. And here's Denard Span with 2 outs. He bounced out to Freddie Freeman first time up. Desmond looking antsy at first base.
Oh, you see how short his lead is, though. I mean, he did get a good jump on Tehran on the Ramos fly out to center, but watch how much a good move will shorten your lead. And Desmond is a guy that usually gets out to the cut. So where is he right now? Probably a step shorter.
Span was leading off on April 12th when the Nats faced this pitcher. He went 2 for 3 against him. Hits that ball pretty well out to left center, but it's caught by B.J. Upton. Nats get a leadoff single. They've stranded 3, but lead on the Harper home run. George and the mini shark. It is Shark Week, by the way. So down goes Abe. Tom is a pushover. Bill's terrified. So he and Teddy are down, and the father of our country. He may not have chopped down the cherry tree, but his guy just chopped down 4 presidents.
Can't let a little punk shark like that take you out. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's this week, though. They play a little bigger this time every year. Visit Kia.com. Learn why Kia is one of the fastest growing car brands in America. So career against Gio. Uggla not much to show. B.J. Upton 3 hits. Andrelton Simmons, as we mentioned earlier tonight, along with Chris Johnson, his toughest matchup. But he got them both first time around. Uggla on a fly ball to right. And a changeup, 2-0. Ryan Zimmerman over to cut that one off. Sidearm whip to LaRoche for the out.
That meet and greet with Ryan Zimmerman today for PNC Bank. Had a great luncheon here at the ballpark. Ryan answering a bunch of questions. Had some great answers about how he feels they're still in the race, that it's not over yet. And the mood in the clubhouse is they feel like they're ready for a run. Good time had by all. A lot of great questions asked to Ryan. I was impressed.
There's B.J. Upton with a base hit. That's only the 3rd hit Gio's given up, 1 in each of the last 3 innings. Andrelton Simmons, the number 8 hitter now. And LaRoche reaching over the runner to bring that one in. Eight for 12, B.J. Upton stealing. Fastball outside.
Well, if you get him on the ground, you're going to have to hurry. Simmons can run. 17 infield hits this year. That's 8th in the National League.
Yeah, he's right behind Denard Span in that category. And that's a breaking ball that stays outside. 2-0.
I like what B.J. Upton does in his lead at first base. As a base stealer or a base runner, you always want to look like you're going. That way, when you are going, you're not tipping it off. And you watch, he always has kind of a lean to his right leg. He always looks like he's ready to run. Some guys will be real calm, and then all of a sudden they're going to steal. They tip it off, and they show everybody in the ballpark that they're thinking about running. But if you look the same every single time in your lead, you'll never tip off the fact that you're stealing.
Braves have some fast guys and some good athletes, but they just don't run that much. They do here. Ramos on target, but late. And B.J. Upton swipes his 9th of the year. That's only their 37th steal all year as a team. And they've been banged up at times, some of these guys.
I mean, he just went first move right there. He was betting Gio Gonzalez was not throwing over. There was no read involved right there. Got a good move. Barely beat the throw. Kind of decelerated into the slide, and it made it a little bit closer than it should have been. Good pick by Rendon. Slaps the tag on him. And that was close.
Yeah, a lot closer than I thought it was from watching it real speed first time.
Watch that last angle. Let's watch Rendon's glove, and does it get him before the foot gets to the base? Slapping it on him right there. And that's just too close. I mean, you gotta watch the replay 3 times. There's no way that an umpire can see that full speed.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Pitcher on deck here.
Anytime you can individually count every grain of dirt in the replay and then say the umpire missed it, I feel like you got to give the umpire the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I noticed about those replays, if the throw gets there on a fly, runner's probably out. Glove had to bounce up just a little bit after that hop. But Rendon couldn't just lay it down in front of the bag like some guys like to do. 3-2 with 1 out. Gio lost it, not even close. And now Tehran could bunt 2 runners ahead. Or if Freddie Gonzalez is feeling frisky the way he swung the bat last time up, he might have him hacking. This guy can hit.
Well, I would base what I do with Julio Tehran on who's on deck. And last time Evan Gattis hit an absolute bullet to Bryce Harper. So if I'm Freddie Gonzalez, I'm definitely bunting 2 runners into scoring position in this situation.
Squares early. Drops it down. Checks up nice. Ramos turns and throws to Rendon. Braves execute quickly. And now they've got the tying run 90 feet away. The lead run right behind it. There's some athletic ability. Desmond chatting with Simmons. Gattis and Upton. First base open. But Justin Upton, one of the most dangerous hitters in the league this year. At times. They've got great speed on second and third. Anything in the dirt, Wilson Ramos has to keep it close. That is a base hit that'll put Atlanta on top. Wouldn't you know it? A guy who comes in the first inning because of an injury has 2 great at bats and drives in 2 runs right here.
A nice piece of hit and gets a fastball down the way. Pulled the ball last time up, gets inside of it right there. I'll tell you what, the Braves do all the little things right. Sacrificing 2 runners into scoring position. They bunt by Tehran. Sets up the 2-out RBI by Evan Gattis. 2-out, 2 RBIs. They do all the little things well. They get the big hit. They throw it. They catch it. It's a good ball club.
Gattis doesn't play every day right now, and he's driven in 46 runs this year. There's Justin Upton. He's grounded out to short and flied to left. Gio turns his back on the umpire after that call. Kinetic North America will track it.
Well, I didn't like the call, but that's the last umpire in the big leagues you want to turn your back on, Joe West. He's a guy that can make your strike zone very small in a hurry.
3-2. Runner moving. Base hit. Gaddis to third.
A nice piece of hitting right here by Justin Upton. 3-2 fastball right down the middle. Just goes right back at Gio Gonzalez. Evan Gaddis moving on the pitch. Advances to third. And now, got to try to limit the damage with the guy that's hitting in the mid-4s with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, 451, Freddie Freeman. Well, that's the life of the Atlanta Braves these days. Opposing pitcher doesn't get a call. Couple of pitches later, right up the middle, and now another threat with 2 outs. In an inning where they already sacrificed 2 runners ahead, and they both scored. Braves are trying to make it 12 in a row tonight.
Been on a few of those Oakland A's teams that had runs like this, 10 games in a row, 12 games in a row. And the feeling in the dugout is you're invincible. I mean, you just don't even feel like you're ever out of a game. It could be 5-0 in the third, and you think, well, we're going to score 6 and find a way to score 6. And the relaxation level, the confidence level, all coming together as a ball club. When you're in the middle of a streak like this, you're bulletproof.
0-1, and Freeman takes it down. Braves even their road record at 30-30 last night. It shows you how well they played at Turner Field, 23 over.
There were times with the Oakland A's to where the ball club was up by so many runs in a game, guys would actually go up and down the dugout being bored with winning, saying, come on guys, let's make some outs. It's time to go. You're cutting into my timeout tonight.
Then a 1-2 pitch. Big curveball. Freeman able to foul it away. Long inning. 22 pitches so far. This is the 7th batter. And Freeman can't reach the high fastball by Gio. So Atlanta picks up 2. Nats have Rendon, Gio, and Harper coming up now behind them. 2-1 Atlanta. Now the Nats have to get the offense going in the middle of this ball game. 8-9-1 coming up. And on Saturday, August 31st, after the 7:05 game against the Mets, it's Gavin DeGraw in the Nats Live free post-game concert series. Game tickets starting at just $10. Nationals.com/Nats Live. Some restrictions apply. You must have a valid game ticket for August 31st. Well, now Tehran's on top. After that long first inning, economy of work since. 64 pitches, 41 strikes. Breaking ball low to Anthony Rendon, who popped up to second first time up. Fastball, that is ripped into the gap, right at the 377 mark. And Anthony Rendon has a 6-game hitting streak.
And how quick has he been with the bat the last couple of nights? Kind of also started with that double switch home run that he hit in Milwaukee on Sunday, followed up with a couple yesterday, then a screaming double in the gap to lead off the fifth. Switch to 100% fiber optic Verizon Fios and supercharge your internet speeds. Supercharge a leadoff double. Well, now it's up to small ball in the execution of Gio Gonzalez.
6 sacrifices this year, 17 career, and he pops it up.
Oh, those are the little things they haven't done this year on a consistent basis. You just saw the Braves and Julio Tehran sacrifice 2 guys into scoring position. And after the leadoff double, Gio Gonzalez reached for a high fastball and popped it up.
That'll bring in Bryce Harper, who lasered one out of here to dead center last time up.
I think he's going to get a first pitch fastball after last time going deep on the heater.
It's anywhere near the plate. He's crazy.
I mean, you could also say, well, he's not going to look for it. I'm going to throw it again.
Wow. Right in the middle of the leg, and Harper is very unhappy. Here they come from the dugouts. They're coming from the bullpens. I mean, that ball was so far inside. Bryce Harper, no chance to get out of the way. And if that wasn't intentional, that's the miss of the year by a pretty good pitcher. Evidently, Jason Hurward's neck's feeling a little better.
He's got the stim machine that's still attached to him. Well, I'll tell you what, last night, off Tyler Clippard, Justin Upton absolutely watched his home run. It took him forever to get around the bases. Nothing was done about it. Bryce Harper goes deep here tonight, his second at-bat in the third, and gets drilled on the first pitch. That was on purpose.
Guys don't miss with a fastball like that at this level.
Not a guy that's been hitting the spots all night, I'll tell you that.
Joe West, I believe, is issuing warnings to the dugouts right now.
So here's Bryce Harper's home run swing last time up. Couple of steps, flipped his bat. And then here's the next pitch he sees, the following at bat.
Well, to Bryce's credit, he kept himself in the game by not charging them out. He said what he needed to say.
Well, I'll tell you one thing right now. I would not want to be Dan Uggla or Andrelton Simmons if Ryan Zimmerman hits a ground ball, because with runners on first and second and nobody holding Bryce Harper, he is going to go some kind of hard into second base. Well, here's Justin Upton last night against Tyler Clippard on a 3-2 changeup. Well, you be the judge.
Zimmerman high in the air to center. B.J. Upton. One runner tagging. Harper set to go to second in case the throw is offline. And so Rendon to third base, 2 outs, and it'll be Jason Worth.
How many pitches before Bryce Harper tries to steal second right here? Hey, spice it up a little bit. Why not?
Well, sometimes one team can issue a wake-up call to another team. Worth has walked and struck out. Breaking ball, he's out ahead of it, and he pops it up. Simmons way out there. Fights off his left fielder, Gaddis, coming from behind. So the Nats will strand a couple. They've left 5. Things interesting as we head to the 6th.
Issued to both ball clubs. We'll keep you posted on that. Joe West might have, but take it back through the whole thing. 2-1 as we go to the top of the 6th, and the bench is cleared right there, and not a lot done. The first pitch, obviously, this guy's been hitting the spots all night. Threw that behind Bryce. There's no doubt in my mind that was on purpose. Bryce Harper with some words. Joe West, look at him getting in between Brian McCann and Bryce Harper. I think Brian McCann just trying to be a peacekeeper. Dan Ugla coming over to be a peacekeeper. And you can read Ian Desmond's lips on what he thought about that. Bullpen coming in for some late support.
Now to the top of the 6th inning. And the bad thing about the team that gets hit here, warnings have been issued. So if there's any retaliation, their guy, in this case our guy, would be tossed if the umpire thinks it's intentional. So it really limits what the retaliating team can do. This is McCann, base hit last time. Fastball up and away, 0-2.
I think there's certain times when who cares? Throw it out the window and retaliate.
Gio wincing after that pitch. Not sure if he felt something. I was just very unhappy with that curveball. But Ramos goes out to visit him. Everything appears to be okay. I mean, what if you throw a ball belt high a foot off the plate? and the umpire says you did it on purpose. That takes away your ability to pitch. Now that's some serious breaking stuff to a left-handed batter right there. Braves box, and they're beginning the third when they put hits together around the walk to Simmons and a key sacrifice by Julio Teheran. Evan Gattis, the RBIs. Chris Johnson, 0 for 2 tonight.
Nice catch. Getting some props. Done that a couple of times tonight. Lost the grip on the curve.
Deep short. Desmond backhand. Hops up, and that's a bullet. 2 outs. Chris Johnson 0 for 7. Coming to town as the league's leading hitter. And it'll be Dan Uggla now with 2 outs.
A nice play the backhand side. A little in-between hop right here. Does a nice job of giving with the baseball. Standing tall, setting, and using that strong arm all the way across the diamond. You see that little tricky hop at the end. Sometimes those will come and bite you in the heel, and it's a nice play by Ian Desmond.
Uggla has slide to right and bounced out to Zimmerman. So what do you think the buzz is in that first base dugout right now?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's all I could do is speculate based on some experience. But I know if I got drilled, I would want somebody else to get drilled. And that's what teams do. It makes you feel like, you know, somebody cares about you. If you think it's on purpose, whether there's warnings issued, suspensions are going to happen, so what? If you're a ball club and you're a team, you stand up for each other. I don't know what's going on in the first base dugout, but I would believe that Bryce Harper feels that he was hit on purpose, and that's the only thing that matters. If he thinks he was hit on purpose, then you would hope that somebody does something to have your back.
(3-2) to Uggla. And a fly ball to left for Bryce Harper. Just an early note for you before the 7th inning stretch. Teheran due to bat third next inning. We're going bottom 6. LaRoche, Desmond, and Ramos straight ahead. It's Army, brought to you by 3 Wire Systems, the leader in reducing wasteful spend through disruptive technology. The World War II Memorial, one side for the Atlantic, one side for the Pacific. And our military salute tonight. Always awesome to see our men and women in uniform at Nationals Park. It's part of our fabric here, and we need them here every night. So it's on to the bottom of the 6th. LaRoche, Desmond, and Ramos. Nats box. Home run Harper, 3rd inning, first hit of the night for the Nats after 1 out. Leadoff single by LaRoche in the 4th, and a leadoff double by Rendon in the 5th, but the Nats trailed 2-1.
So I went in the Braves booth during the commercial break, and I think I could take Joe Simpson if you got Chip Carey.
Joe Simpson's a big guy, and Chip's a lot taller than me.
I'll just grab him by the tie. Maybe pull his collared shirt over his head and go to work.
I do have a shot against their stage manager.
I think you could take Chip Carey. It's pretty big, though.
That's a slider to the outside corner on LaRoche. Probably a curveball, 82. Slider would be harder than that. 73 on that one. Boy, he's really got good control tonight, FP.
Yeah, when he wants it, sure. Well, he's been very impressive. I mean, just the fact that he's throwing 91 to 95, moving the ball around. A much more confident Teheran than we saw, or at least I saw last time in Atlanta. But he's still the kind of guy that will give you a pitch to hit in the at-bat. It's not like he's just working corners.
Adam LaRoche strikes out. No assist for Freddie Freeman. And that's strikeout number 4 for Teheran.
Yeah, pretty good changeup right here from Teheran. And you have that bat, that Jason Worth model with no knob on it. So when you really get fooled, that can happen. Nothing to keep the bat in your hands. And Freddie Freeman made a nice play. Look at him checking that helicopter out, coming right at him.
Fastball at the knees, a beauty to Desmond. So you went over there to discuss something or just size them up for a broadcast brawl?
Anchorman. Brought my trident over.
Got to be a parking lot in Southeast where we can get together after this one.
Oh, they're the best. They do such a good job.
1 ball and 2 strikes.
I honestly told him I thought Teheran was going to get it when he comes up. But then they said that Freddie Freeman got hit, and then we went. It was ugly. He should have been there.
We're still on the air because I wasn't.
Not a black guy. I'll be all right.
Pretty good. 1-2 fastball. Nissan will track it.
And 94 miles an hour. So he has that reach back in 2-strike mode. Just misses on the other half. He'll run that thing up there at 95 at times.
Desmond somehow able to reach that slide piece. Wilson Ramos retrieving that and making it a souvenir. He has flied out to center twice tonight. Desmond, 16 home runs, capable of tying this game quickly. And on a pitch up, he'll foul it out of play to the right side.
I mean, lost in all the hubbub right there was the fact that Gio Gonzalez didn't get the bunt down. I mean, doing the little things right, moving it a leadoff double to third base, huge in a 1-run ball game against a ball club like the Braves.
Yeah, and a pitcher's probably not going to try to throw one to half of the other side of the batter's box with a guy standing on third. Ian Desmond hanging tough, taking healthy hacks out of play right side again. Desmond gashes one up the middle. That ball extremely hard hit. Upton playing deep. He in a big round to the bag. And he's aboard with one out here in the sixth for Wilson Ramos.
Can't hit a ball any harder than that right back up the middle. He was thinking about two based on the depth of B.J. Upton right here. Got a fastball in the inner half, gets the barrel right to it. Look at him change the rotation. Knuckleball coming off, squared it up beautifully. And then based on where this ball was hit and how far Upton had to go for it, he's thinking about two. And you see where Upton started? Now he has to go all the way on the other side of second. Desmond thinking two right out of the gate, and something fell off him right around first base. I don't know what it was.
Here's Wilson Ramos. Two fly balls to center. He was on the run last time with one out in the fourth when Ramos flied to center. That ball will be out of play, right field side.
I thought I saw something fall off of Ian Desmond as he's coming around first. What do we got? Hits the bag. Is that like a Gatorade cup coming out of his back pocket? That's what it might have been.
Oh, 1. Ramos pulls it, and that's foul. Big gap left center. 1-2 pitch. And Ramos in the air to right. Justin Upton. And with 2 outs, it'll be up to Span. Left-hander Scott Downs. One of their 2 lefties, Luis Avila on the other. We saw him last night. Runs pitch count approaching 90 here. Last outing, 103 pitches in just 5 innings in an 11-2 win over the Rockies 5 days ago. Most pitches he'd thrown since the 4th of July. Span 0 for 2, ground ball to first, fly ball to center. Pretty impressive. So if you don't get him early, the Nats got him for a Harper homer in the 3rd, but he is usually very difficult at this time of the game.
Well, there's a couple things you can take from that. I mean, 3rd time through the order, if you're lucky enough to do that, you're having a good night, right? I mean, you're not going to leave a guy in 3rd time that's getting his head kicked in. So those numbers should be a little bit lower in general.
Gio has thrown 83 pitches, and Craig Stammen is working. In case the inning gets down to the number 9 spot, and Davey might pinch hit. Desmond, great jump. How about that? Right into the glove of Simmons, coming over to cover because of the runner. So that's the 3rd out of the inning. The Nats strand a runner. They've left 6 and trail 2-1. wave all night long and cheer on your Nats. Great for all types of events like company outings, birthday parties, family reunions, just a lot of fun. Bigger the group, the bigger the savings. Check out group opportunities at nationals.com/groups. Top 7, Upton, Simmons. And will they hit for Tehran, who's at 90 pitches? We'll see. B.J. Upton, 1 for 2, base hit, stolen base, and a run scored. And now he has another hit. B.J. Upton, 3 hits and a walk in this series. That guy starts hitting well over 200. How good can this offense be? 3 lucky fans will win a lunch with Gio Gonzalez as part of Masson's meet and greet giveaway. Go to facebook.com/Masson Nationals. Click on Enter Sweepstakes for your chance to win. He's on deck. Looks to me like a couple of guys in the front row would like to brush him back.
I think
some stairs.
Well, I'm not sure he's going to hit. I saw Freddie Gonzalez. He got a couple of guys with helmets on down there. He just sent him to the on-deck circle. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to hit.
And Downs might already be ready and just not throwing at this point. Runner goes. Pitch up. Ramos bounces another one in there. Second steal of the night for B.J. Upton. And his 10th of the year.
A great jump. Went first move again on Gio Gonzalez. And Wilson Ramos had no chance.
The Nats are minus 21 in the stolen base category this year, meaning their opponents have stolen 21 more than they have. Nats have not done a great job of dealing with base runners. Simmons has struck out, walked, and scored. 2-1 pitch.
I would think maybe with runners in scoring position that Freddie Gonzalez might pinch hit for his pitcher right here. And he's got somebody with a helmet on right there, ready to go. I think that's Cunningham.
Yeah, it might be Todd Cunningham. He and Joey Turtislavich, both switch hitters in the Atlanta dugout. Carlos Tosca alongside.
I think he said, I think I'm going to pinch hit right here. Tough decision.
To short. Runner goes to third, and there's a play. Upton, for some reason, getting himself hung up.
That changes what Freddie Gonzalez might do right here.
What a bad base running play that was. On a sharply hit ball, they're calling Tehran back. Wow. Fielder's choice, 6-5-4.
A little over-aggressive base running here by B.J. Upton. Ball hit to your right, you're supposed to freeze and go back to the bag. Ball hit to your left, you advance, and in a one-run ball game, a big mistake.
I mean, that's a ball that a base runner shouldn't even think about going. Todd Cunningham, a 24-year-old rookie out of Jacksonville, Florida. Second rounder back in 2010 out of Jacksonville State in Alabama. We keep hearing about that school with major league ball players. Outside. Cunningham as a pinch hitter, 1 for 2. He was hitting .279 with 18 steals at AAA Gwinnett when they called him up. 2 balls, no strikes. Cunningham takes one right in there. Mercedes-Benz to track this strike. Scott Downs sat down. Luis Avilan back. The Nats have done nothing with Avilan this year. He faced one batter last night, Adam LaRoche, in the 8th, and got him to line out to short. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And a swing and a miss as Gio gets his first strikeout since the 5th inning and his 5th of the game. Top of the order, Gaddis coming up, and he's had 2 really good swings against Gio.
Yeah, just climbed the ladder here at 94, and Cunningham tries to get on top, but can't.
Gaddis line drive to left, robbed of an extra base hit by Bryce Harper in the 3rd after replacing Jason Hayward. And then serving one the other way for a 2-run single, the big blow of the game in the 5th. First pitch popped him up. Wilson Ramos near the screen. Top of the 7th over. And Gio having a great night. Now he needs some run support. 7th inning stretch brought to you by Hyundai's 100,000 Reasons event. Visit your local Hyundai dealers this week. Beautiful night, Nationals Park. How about some runs? Bullpen they've had lots of problems with this year. Maybe tonight's the night. Rendon, Gio scheduled, although Hairston's on deck, and then the top of the order. So the Potomac Nationals back in Woodbridge in 5 days through the 16th. Tyler Moore, Carolina League MVP bobblehead coming up. Fireworks, Dollar Monday, halfway to St. Patrick's Day promotion. And a Danny Espinosa backpack. See the future Nats today, 703-590-2311 or PotomacNationals.com. Todd Cunningham stays into play left field for the Braves. The pitcher spot is the number 1 hole, and that's where Luis Avilan goes. This call to the bullpen, packaged by the UPS store. We love logistics. It'll be his 53rd appearance, one of the league leaders in that department. A 1.18 ERA and the opponent's batting average of 160. And he's not a strikeout guy. 26 Ks, 46 innings.
Yeah, 3-pitch guy, fastball, curveball change. Fastball averages 93 miles an hour. Curveball 76, change 81.
The Nats are 8 for 86 against the Braves bullpen this year with not a run scored. That has to change. Strike 1. Scott Hairston on deck. Rendon with a big swing and a miss. First time he faces Avilan. So the bullpen's in the season series.
That's a bullpen without Johnny Venters.
Eric O'Flaherty right now. How about that David Carpenter, who was a catcher previously in his career, out here throwing 97 last night. And he's the one who really kind of won that game for them. Ian Kroll for the Nats for the 8th.
They got 5 big outs.
Rendon up the middle. To his left, Andrelton Simmons. So Gio's done for the night, and the Nats will have to try to get him off the hook or get him a lead here. Scott Hairston, couple of hits when he got a start last night. Around to walk, Julie. He swung the bat well.
He did, and in a rather reflective moment last night in the clubhouse, he said, usually it's rare in sports. When you do everything you can, you should be rewarded for it. Not this game. He said it wears and tears on your heart, but you got to try not to think about those frustrations, because before you know it, there's another game upon you.
Every day for 6 months. Great outing for Gio. 7 innings tonight. There's former Nat Luis Ayala. He of the good sinker, probably for Zimmerman if the inning gets to Ryan.
Well, Davy Johnson getting the matchup he wants right here with Scott Hairston up.
Who is 0 for 2 career against Avilan.
And Freddie Gonzalez leaving Avilan in because Bryce Harper's on deck. So Bryce with a homer already enables Davy Johnson to get his right-handed pitch hitter up against the left-hander Avilan.
And his righty versus lefty specialist here. And Scott had a good cut on 1-0. Gio walked 1 batter tonight, struck out 5. 2 runs on 6 hits in 7 innings, 96 pitches, 60 strikes. Big comeback outing for him after Detroit. That breaker stayed upstairs. Hairston a good eye, 2-1. Kinetic North America. Where was it?
Curveball 76, top of the zone.
Hairston left side. Cutting it off, Chris Johnson. Strong arm, 2 outs. Bryce Harper, that's only RBI guy tonight. So from the 2010 draft, he's 50 games up played on Manny Machado and more than that on Andrelton Simmons. What a bumper crop of young talent that draft was.
Wow.
Guys getting to the big leagues in a hurry.
And Manny Machado still might be a shortstop someday. A game face working for number 34.
Harper against Avilan, 0 for 5 with a walk and 3 strikeouts. Avilan working slowly, 1-1 pitch, and Harper just spits on that one, low and away.
The 2-1 fastball to a guy with a home run already. Or do you keep throwing him soft?
Well, that's a fastball, and it's into center field. Bryce Harper aboard for the 3rd time tonight. Rounds the bag by about 40 feet, as he always does. And a good night for Bryce, busting up an 0 for 12 with a homer, hit by a pitch and a base hit last 3 times.
Pretty good fastball by Avilan. Keep it down the zone. That's all Bryce Harper could do was hit it back up the middle. Good swing, big turn like you said, and wondering if he's thinking about stealing second here with 2 outs.
Does the lefty stay to face Ryan Zimmerman? Evidently, yes. Ryan Zimmerman against Luis Avilan, career 0 for 3. Bryce with a very short lead. That's a fair ball. Johnson, long throw, launches it, safe. Freeman had to go upstairs to get it. 2 on, 2 out.
Yeah, long throw for Johnson right there to the backhand side. Just got underneath it a little bit. And Ryan Zimmerman, who's always hustling down the line no matter what, gets there in time. You see Johnson taking his time, throw high. Nice catch by Freddie Freeman, by the way, or Bryce Harper would at least be on third, but Zimmerman always busting it down the line, barely beats it, and the Nats staying alive here in the 7th. Look at that play by Freeman, though, to catch that. Wow.
Johnson's 13th error of the year. Big spot for Jason Worth, who's faced Luis Avilan twice in his career. Worth tonight 0 for 2 of the walk, 0 for 2 career against this lefty.
If you're wondering why Freddie Gonzalez is leaving a lefty in to face a right-handed Jason Worth, righty's hitting just 171 against Avilan this year.
And then the other side of that coin is Worth 333 against lefties.
Something's got to give.
Great matchup. Fastball outside.
Well, we talked in the open yesterday about big-time players stepping up in big games. There you go.
Worth a big cut on 2-0. Second base Harper, the 2-out single. First base Zimmerman reaching on the error. Worth with 43 RBIs on the year. That spins him out of there, 3-1. Crowd of 30,875 tonight.
Yeah, 2-1 heater, up and in, look out. Now Worth in the driver's seat big time in a 3-1 count.
Off speed, bases loaded.
He wanted LaRoche all the way right there. That's an unintentional, intentional walk. He wanted nothing to do with Jason Worth. Regardless of putting another runner in scoring position, even though it is the go-ahead run, he wants Adam LaRoche.
And these two have faced each other 4 times. Adam is 0 for 4 against him.
And a 2-1 fastball up and in. 3-1 curveball for a ball. He wanted nothing to do with Jason Worth once he fell behind. Wants the left-on-left matchup.
LaRoche swinging the bat well tonight. Walking a base hit. He was swinging well against the left-hander Mike Minor yesterday. That's inside for a ball.
Crowd's into it.
It's okay to pitch around a guy, but now the pressure on Avilan as he's fallen behind. Well inside, ball 2.
Let's see Avilan taking a walk around the mound right now. He's feeling it. I guess the decision here for LaRoche, you're looking for one pitch in one spot. And the crowd here at Nats Park, everybody on their feet.
That might have been ball 3 inside. To Freeman, the Nats strand 3. They have left 9 runners on base in a 2-1 game.
Gonzalez with a nice night. 7 innings, 5 strikeouts on 96 pitches. Bryce Harper 2 for 3, 17th tater. And Evan Gattis, a last-minute start, 2-run single in the 5th inning. He's got a couple of knocks, but just like Steven Strasburg last night, Gio Gonzalez tonight with a curveball. being his best pitch. Strasburg featured a great curveball last night. Gio Gonzalez follows suit here tonight against the Braves. Threw it for strikes early, bounced it late for strike 3, and a nice bounce-back start for Gio Gonzalez after a rough one in Detroit.
So our Cox game summary getting us into the top of the 8th inning here. Ian Kroll, 21st game. Hasn't faced the Braves. Upton, Freeman, McCann the do-up, so a right-hander, then 2 lefties. Best pitch in baseball. First pitch fastball with movement right in there. These Uptons have been a factor in this series. They have 4 hits tonight, 2 for each brother.
Let's check out that last pitch to Adam LaRoche. Carp, you were saying it might have been ball 3, and it might have been, but I'll tell you what he's thinking up there. He's looking for something middle in to turn the fan on. Adam LaRoche, a guy that drives in runs, he is not thinking I'm going to walk home the tie and run. He's thinking grand slam and 5-2 Nationals. So he got something he thought he could handle. Late movement, jammed him, obviously. Ball 3, but I'm just trying to take you through what a hitter's thinking in that situation, especially a guy that drives in runs.
Yeah, if he hits it into the corner or over the wall, we're going, what a great at bat. Freeman hit by a pitch in between 2 outs tonight. Terry Pendleton walking right to Sam Holbrook. Something about Ian Kroll's move spawning a discussion between first base coach and umpire.
Got in his face, didn't he?
And Freeman spins out. Two and 0. Freddie Freeman on the hands, off to the left, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Well, after a couple of fastballs up and in, if you can execute that off speed, that breaking pitch down and away, you got a chance.
Hot shot. Rendon finds Desmond. Couple of nice throws, and I'm telling you, Upton really went after Ian Desmond. How did he clear himself for that relay?
Wow, he went in hard. Check out Justin Upton right here going in hard to break up the double play. You'll see it here in a second, but a nice turn by Desmond avoiding traffic. But let's check out the slide of Justin Upton. Very late to Ian Desmond. Good hard slide. That's the way he played the game. Nothing dirty about that. Just going after him, and it's called hardball for a reason.
Here's Brian McCann with 2 outs, bases empty. Nats turned their second double play of the night. That was a beauty. Kroll working very quickly, and a swing and a foul, 0-2. Fastball up and McCann to Rendon. Good inning for Ian Kroll after the leadoff hit. It'll be Desmond, and then the power of Wilson Ramos, and then Denard Span. Bottom 8 coming up. Masson, brought to you by Navy Federal Credit Union. 4 million members, 4 million stories. Navy Federal Credit Union. And by Kia. Visit Kia.com to learn why Kia is one of the fastest growing car brands in America. Capitol all lit up on this beautiful early August Tuesday night. Quite a ball game again this evening at Nationals Park. Final game of the series, Chris Medlin tomorrow evening. He's 8-10. Pitched long enough to have 12 straight decisions. Jordan Zimmerman coming off finally that 13th win in Milwaukee, and he's 3-1 career against the Braves with a .297. Johnny and Ray here at the ballpark, 6:30 Nats Extra. First pitch around 7:05. Jordan Zimmerman outstanding again in Wisconsin over the weekend, unbeaten in his home state. Jordan Walden, no stranger to closing ball games. 32 saves 2 years ago for the Angels. He closed it out, giving up one hit to Anthony Rendon last night. For his first save as a Brave. Tonight he's trying to set it up for the now available Craig Kimbrell.
A pretty good fastball, averages 95. Slider and a change to go with it.
Facing Ian Desmond, who was up in the order and didn't see Walden last night. MLB.TV celebrating 11 years. Catch the rest of the season HD quality with MLB.TV Premium on your mobile and connected device. Desmond, 1-for-1 career against Walden. That's low and away.
And 97 from Walden right there. Desmond got a fastball down the middle and was late.
That's quite an arm the Braves got from the Angels in exchange for Tommy Hanson last November.
.99. Ryan Zimmerman was talking about that today at lunch, and how every team has a guy that throws 100 miles an hour, and how hard it is as a hitter to decipher whether it's going to be a ball or a strike when it's that hard.
Yeah, like that slider, low and away. Desmond strikes out. McCann throws him out.
The guy throws almost 100 miles an hour. You almost have to designate that you're swinging on a certain pitch, and if he pulls the string like that, you really don't have a chance.
Nats have a home run tonight. Bryce Harper's 17th. They're 106th. So that's $250 more to the Children's National Medical Center, thanks to our Washington, D.C. Lexus dealers. Lexus, the pursuit of perfection. Ramos has hit 7. '83 on the breaking ball.
And Ryan also went on to say, when you face guys like that every night that throw 95, 98, 99, 100, you wonder why the strikeout rate is so high in the game today, that when he first came into the big leagues, there wasn't guys like that in every single bullpen you faced. And the Pirates had a couple lefties, actually, that threw 100 miles an hour. So add that to the mix, and that might be a prime reason why strikeouts are up. Everybody says, well, guys don't care anymore. They don't cut down their swings with 2 strikes. Well, that might be the case with some players, but when you talk about having to face guys that throw triple digits every night, your last couple at-bats, could be a reason why strikeouts are high.
This guy just 25 years of age. Out of Mansfield, Texas High School, just south of Arlington. And Scott Downs back out. Swing and a miss. Ramos gone. 2 strikeouts here in the 8th. Mercedes-Benz will track it.
Now slider 82 miles an hour down and away to Ramos. More about the change of speeds than the actual break of the pitch.
Denard Span 0 for 3 tonight. But against Walden, who he saw in the American League, 2 for 4.
You saw Brian McCann right there motioning behind Denard Span's back. He was telling Freddie Freeman, heads up for the bunt, meaning he'll bring the ball with him. Freeman, who was playing back about 5 steps, moved in, and now a little bit farther back in a 1-strike count.
And very close to the line, as is Chris Johnson at third. Left-handed hitter ahead in the count here with 2 outs in the 8th.
Trying to get on board for that guy. He's been swinging it.
Yeah, Rendon singled against Walden last night. That shot off Dan Uggla's body up the middle.
I would think, just based on watching Walden here, that a guy jumping at you that violent plus 97 might even play harder than that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever seen a pitcher that wasn't throwing a softball lose contact with the ground totally during his delivery. Just never really seen anybody who throws like this.
And 30 years as a play-by-play guy in the big leagues, if you did see a pitcher throw a softball, it'd be news.
I've seen a couple of cupcakes come floating up there from time to time. Outside, 3-2. Base runners any way you can get them at this stage of the game.
Sometimes you have an evil thought and you step out of the box. Regroup, start it over.
Swing and a miss on a ball way outside. The Nats go 1-2-3, and now this year they're 9 for 92 against the Atlanta bullpen. With Chris Johnson, Dan Uggla, and B.J. Upton coming up. 5 strikeouts by Gio tonight, so that's 5 times $37 more to the Children's Inn at the National Institutes of Health. D.C. area Toyota dealers helping children and their families. That's Toyota, K's for kids. Here's Craig Stammen. 38th appearance. 59 innings, 51 strikeouts. The league hitting .274 against him. It'll be his first appearance of this series. And Chris Johnson is 0 for 6 career against the Nats right-hander. Nats have handled the league's leading hitter well in this series. '87, the slider low, 2-0.
Yeah, Stammen's job to keep it right there and hope he can figure something out against Craig Kimbrell.
Fastball hit to Zimmerman. 1 out, top of the 9th. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the Washington Nationals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Washington Nationals. There he is, National League leader in saves with 34. Had the night off last night. Walden got the job done. That's a base hit for Dan Uggla, breaking an 0 for 16. Ugla against Stammen with that hit, 5 for 20 career.
Ugla, one stolen base, hasn't been caught. Craig Stammen very deliberate to the plate. We've seen teams run on him.
B.J. Upton's 2 for 3 tonight. Three for 6 in this series. Front door slider stayed inside.
And B.J. Upton having a nice night. Couple of hits, couple of stolen bases, a few good plays in center field.
Now that's a good ball cutting away from a right-handed batter. 88.
And check out the pitch from Craig Stammen, just going the other side of the plate with a little slider at 88. Subtle late movement to a pull swing. Boy, last year he'd throw that slider for a strike, bounce the next one, and it just seemed like everybody swung over the top of it, but it was more of a slider that went straight down versus having sweep to it. This year it's kind of moving a little bit away from a righty, to where last year it almost had split action at time, meaning that it went straight down.
That one had some drop to it. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Andrelton Simmons waiting here in the 9th.
Two ways right here for Stammen. You try to expand on the outer half of that slider, get him to chase, or you have that two-seamers open up on the inner half of the plate if you want to go there.
That is right down the middle with 84, and B.J. Upton stood there for a while. 2 outs.
Or you could just throw a slider right down the middle for strike 3 looking. This didn't do a whole lot. Maybe the change of speeds fooled him, but that's not where Craig Stammen wanted that slider. That's belt high right down the middle.
Oh, wow.
And those can go a long way. Got away with it for strike 3.
Simmons 0 for 2 with a walk. And 0 for 3 career against Craig Stammen. Nats, by the way, bottom of the 9th will have 8, 9, and 1 due up. With Rendon leading off. Jammed him. Pop up. Zimmerman and Desmond. Ryan with plenty of room, and the top of the 9th is over. The Nats are going to have to beat or tie the best in the league in the bottom of the 9th. Here comes Kimbrel.
one tonight, a 2-1 ball game as we head to the bottom of the ninth inning. Atlanta up by a run. Johnny Holiday and Ray Knight inviting you to stick around for our Nats Extra postgame show coming up when this one is over, and we hope it's not going to be over in a couple of minutes. Ray, tough one again tonight, huh, so far?
Another good ball game, well pitched from both sides. The inability to get a bunt down cost a run, and their ability to get a bunt down, and then Gaddis comes in playing for the hurt Hayward inserted in the game, gets a scalding base hit to right field, and just one of those little bit of difference, where they do something right, we don't quite get it right, and that ends up being wins and losses, Johnny, just those little things that we've talked about all year, execution.
Well, one of the guys who has a pretty good night tonight, Bryce Harper, had that home run and involved in a hit when he got up the next time at the plate against Tehran, and he'll be coming to the plate here in the bottom of the ninth. Let's go back to Bob at FP and see if the Nats can tie it or pull it out with a win.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Ray. Bryce after Rendon. Tracy on deck. Third inning, 1 out. Quite a drive.
Yeah, time for the key drive of the game. Bryce Harper straightaway center field. Stood up, walked out of the box, watched it a little bit. Would get drilled later in the game. And fireworks would ensue. This drive of the game is brought to you by Kia. Visit Kia.com to learn why Kia is one of the fastest growing car brands in America.
Defense for the Braves, Paul Janisch, their specialist at third base in the ninth inning. And then here is the best closer in the league. Can the Nats do something about Craig Kimbrell? Anthony Rendon has never faced him.
That two-pitch guy, pretty simple. Fastball averages 96 miles an hour. Hard slider at 85 to go with it. And he's converted 24 saves in a row.
Rendon tonight 1 for 3 with a double, led off the fifth. Nats couldn't get him in. Right in there. 98, strike 2.
Well, you got to get to that fastball before he gets to the slider. So 98 on the black, not a whole lot you can do. Now you got to fight.
Fastball. Able to get the bat up there. Rendon stays alive.
Now you go up to Craig Kimbrell, he's not the biggest guy in the world. Let's say 5'10", 5'11", gets all his power from his base. The tree trunk legs that he has. Not the most imposing presence on the mound, but the stuff speaks for itself.
And a good job by Rendon of getting to that slider down and away. Kimbrell listed at 5'11", 205, third rounder. Back in 08, there were 95 picks before him in that draft.
5'11", and he throws 100. And I think that's generous if you go stand next to him.
And the slider outside, 2-2. And that slider up. Anthony has worked the count full here. And a 3-2 fastball strikes out Rendon.
Pretty good fight by Anthony Rendon, though. First time facing Craig Kimbrell. Got it to a 3-2 count. Couldn't catch up to the 98, but not the way he wanted that at-bat to end up, but gave it a go.
Chad Tracy now with the bases empty, 1 out. Career 2 for 7 against Craig Kimbrell.
Couple of shark rally hats. Got the fin going.
Chad this year, 8 pinch hits, 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. Kimbrel's given up 3 homers this year. That's a high strike. Did he go? No swing, says Rob Drake.
And he'd make the call at home, right to the slider to Chad Tracy. Tried to hold up.
Ooh.
Might have caught a break.
Could have gone either way, that call.
Going with the slider again. That's just filthy. 86 miles. I mean, you can call it a hard curveball, slider, whatever you want. Look at the break on this late.
That's in the dirt. A strikeout. McCann throws him out. Nats down to their final chance. A hitter hasn't made contact for the Nats since the 7th inning.
Well, Bryce Harper with a home run already. Meet Craig Kimbrel, and if you're Davey Johnson, you're okay with this matchup. 1-run ball game, Bryce up, and we'll see how Craig Kimbrel handles Bryce Harper. Does he go after him with heat, or does he go that slider? It's worth watching, right?
Great matchup. Harper 2 for 3, on base 3 times tonight. Career 0 for 2 against Kimbrel.
It's good stuff.
Spits on the slider.
That fish ain't biting. Looking for that heat.
Two sliders.
Got to go fastball right here. Do a spot away, don't you? Make him beat you to the other side.
Oh, 98 and Bryce. Quite a rip.
A center cut right down the middle. Challenged him. Harper on it, fouled it straight back. 98 miles an hour. Watch the location. Right down the middle. Harper just catching it deep.
Ball 3. Ryan Zimmerman is 1 for 7 career against Kimbrel. With a walk, and he's next.
Got to count, get a pitch, let it rip.
And he throws him a 3-1 slider.
Well, here you go.
Upstairs, game over. 99 miles an hour. And the Atlanta Braves are 5-0 at Nationals Park this year, and they've just won their 12th game in a row. They struck out the side Walden in the 8th, Kimbrel in the 9th, and the Atlanta Braves lead the season series 9-3. Tomorrow night, it'll be Jordan Zimmerman on the mound for the Nats, and for the Braves, Chris Medlin. He's 8-10, Zimmerman 13-6. This has been a Masson presentation. Nats Extra Postgame with Johnny and Ray here at the ballpark coming up in a moment. And from the booth, so long for just a while.